Hello, welcome back again. Now that you know the key terms in the Treaty of Versailles, I believe the next thing you need to know is how you're going to apply it for whatever question that they throw at you. Alright, so let's explore some of these questions. First, the question can ask you explain why the Allies believed that the TOV, Treaty of Versailles, was fair. Right, this is the one in your example, right? So in this case, the main character here is the Allies. So you have to talk about the Allies' perspective. And then after that, you need to talk about main subject, the TOV, and the outcome that they give to you is it was fair. Alright, so first thing to do, go inside your brain, search for the key details again, and choose which one fits well into this one. Alright, so this is all in your brain, right? So I will scan through the information in my brain, and then I'll go directly to point number 4, which is comparison with other treaties, because the main topic here is about Treaty of Versailles, right? And whether it's fair or not. In order to find out whether it's fair, I have to have some basis of comparison together with other sources. And in this case, I will compare it with my Treaty of Versailles. So you can see that territorial losses, Russia lost a lot more. Coal mines, Russia lost also a lot more. And population loss, they also lost a lot more in the Treaty of Versailles. So my conclusion from this point here is leniency, right? Yes, TOV was much more lenient. This is the main anchor for this chart here, for everything in this table. And this is also what my main point will be. Alright. So again, I say search the information, come up with a main point on your own. In this case, my main point here is it's fair because it's much more lenient as compared to the Treaty of Versailles. So following my main point, then my details will be all these things here. Alright. So chart your graph first. Okay. Main point. Chart your graph first with your main point. In this case, my main point here is it's fair because it's fair as TOV was much more lenient as compared to the other one. Okay, your Brett's did vote treaty. Now, this is the point, right? My claim and my reason. Alright, my claim is here. The TOV is fair, right? The reason for my claim is my claim is here. This is my claim. The TOV was fair. And now, reason for my claim is much more lenient. So my whole paragraph is going to anchor on this claim and reason. Alright, it is fair because it's much more lenient as compared to the Treaty of Versailles. What am I going to write in my details? Okay. So now it's my elaboration. Elaboration is very simple. I will just list down everything that I already memorized in my details over here. Okay, so I'll call this 4.1. So in my elaboration, all I need to do now is just to compare. Compare the terms. Okay, and this is in my brain information. It's filed under 4.1, which according to this chart here is the terms. So write everything, territorial losses, coal mines, and population loss. Now, the main thing that you need to do now is linking it to your explanation. That is the challenging part. Okay, how do I link all these terms to my explanation, which is leniency? Okay, again, I'll write one more time. My point is fair because lenient. So first thing I can write down is impact on Russia. The terms, right, according to 4.1, it implies, what does it imply? It implies that the terms are extremely harsh for Russia. I'm talking about the Brest-Litovsk terms, right? Okay, the Brest-Litovsk terms are extremely harsh to Russia. Okay, severely depleted. What do I mean by extremely harsh to Russia? Well, it caused the depletion of resources. Okay, all this is things that you don't need to memorize. All right, you can just make sense. All right, I'm making sense of the terms that I see over here. All right, all these terms simply imply that, you know, they were extremely harsh to Russia. Russia's resources were depleted, so it's not additional information. It's actually making sense of the information provided to me in my evidence, in my elaboration. So, depletion of resources, okay, losing all these things is naturally going to cause economic depression. Okay. So when I do my explanation, right, I'm actually thinking about how. How is this considered fair? How is this considered? How does this imply, right? How and the implication. How does all these terms imply that it is actually, the TOV is actually fair for Germany? Because when you look at the Brest-Litovsk, you can clearly see that the terms are extremely harsh towards Russia. You can clearly see that they have depleted their resources. You can clearly see that they are experiencing economic depression. And you can also clearly see that they will be unable to recover. Lost a lot of land, a lot of money, a lot of territories. Yes. Unable to recover quickly. Okay. This will cause massive suffering. Okay. This will cause a lot of suffering for the Russians. Yes. Okay. Okay, I'm not done yet, because the next thing is, now I've only listed down the direct impact of the Brest-Litovsk Treaty on Russia itself. The next thing I need to do is make my point clear. And again, my point is TOV. My point once again is the TOV is fairer because it's more lenient than the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. So my focus is on Germany again. Right. Based on what I wrote here, what does this imply? So it's an implication of my implication. It implies that Germany, right, did not consider the suffering of the Russians. Okay, they believe themselves that it was justified. For whatever reason, they believe that this Brest-Litovsk Treaty was justified, and they didn't consider the aftermath, the impact it's going to have on the Russian people, because they simply didn't care about this impact. And so, because of this, when Germany were to sign, when it go boomerang back to their face, and when Germany were to sign the TOV, all right, now you cannot say that TOV is too harsh, right? So in this sense, the TOV, right, being less harsh in comparison, will be justified, and hence it will be fair. All right. So that's how you write the explanation. Can you repeat one more time? Start with your claim and reason. The TOV was fair. The Allies believe TOV was fair because it's much more lenient as compared to the Brest-Litovsk Treaty. What do I write my elaboration? I will write all the terms that I've entered into my brain under folder 4.1 territorial losses, coal mines, and population loss. Based on all these terms, okay, how do you explain it? How do you explain it? What is the implication of all these terms? The implication is that all these terms, especially the Bradley-Sleaford terms, right? The aftermath of it is it caused a lot of hardship for Russia. Depletion of resources, economic depression. They were unable to recover quickly, resulting in suffering of the Russian people. And so when you compare this to the Treaty of Versailles, it's definitely fair. Because if Germany did not consider the suffering of the Russians, if Germany believed that their own harsh treaty is justified, then there's absolutely no reason that the TOV can be considered unjustified. Alright? Because the terms being much less harsh in comparison will therefore make it justified and a fair one. Because if Germany believed Russia could survive, then the TOV also believed, and the Allies nation who created the TOV also believed that it was justified and Germany would eventually survive out of this treaty. Okay? Therefore, this is how you write your essay for your first point. Alright, this is a little bit challenging, but just take time to digest the information I presented here and you'll be fine. In the next video, I'll move on to the second point for this essay.